remember exactly where I've been. So I know I was in Iowa City at one moment, Cedar Rapids at another moment, and drove through Dubuque yesterday. Steve is right, and I think he does do an excellent job. I mean, I'm not sure, but I know that he does, because my very first stop in Iowa, when I was thinking about whether to run or not, was right here, and it was a meeting with you and your wife and there's some friends that actually allowed me to break the ice here, and I will be forever grateful for that. Then we had a great town hall here too. Like 30 people showed up, and I'm somebody nobody's ever heard of. I'm at 0% in the polls. I'm now at 1, so I've made some progress. Thank you. I don't want to take a ton of time at the outset giving you a long talk, but I will say a few things that are on my mind, and then what I really like to do is spend the time in a conversation with all of you about what you want to talk about, because that's how I learn. I should say my daughter Caroline Bennet is here with me today. She's 19 years old. Susan and I have 3 daughters. Caroline's the oldest. They're 19, 18, and 14. And when I asked them whether I should run for president, we talked about it for a while. The only person who was certain that this would be a really good idea was our 14-year-old, not particularly in her case for the good of the country, but because she saw it as an opportunity to keep me out of the house and away from her. And it's turned out to be true, although Americans is at risk of being the first generation to leave less opportunity, not more, to the people coming after us. I think if we have another 10 years of politics like the last 10 years, that's what we're going to do on a whole bunch of metrics. I spent my life mostly outside of politics. I was a lawyer for a while, I was in business for a while, turning around distressed companies, and then I had, in my mind, the job of a lifetime being superintendent of the Denver Public Schools. That's a school district in America with about now 95,000 children. It was 73,000 children when I was the superintendent. It was a district that was losing enrollment every year. It's now one of the fastest growing school districts in the country. And in fact, a report just came out last week from Stanford University that said that the kids in Denver are now growing academically so much faster than their peers around the state that it's the equivalent of having 60 additional school days per year for the kids in Denver. And so we have a long way to go. We've got big achievement gaps still between kids that are living in poverty and kids that are more affluent, between kids of color, between Anglo kids, but I know it's possible to make progress. And what upsets me about our current situation is not only do we have the greatest income inequality that we've had in 100 years, not only is it true that for the last 40 years, we say that bottom 90% of Americans, I don't even know what that means, 9 out of 10 Americans have really not seen a pay increase. And they're, even in a state like mine with a pretty strong economy, people can't afford the cost of housing, the cost of health care, the cost of early childhood education, or the cost of college, which means they can't afford a middle-class life. But it's most people that can't afford a middle-class life.